Hello, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on SI and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider podcast with our mid-training camp 53-man roster projection update. As you know, I do 3 of these a year. The first one I do is prior to training camp. I give you my prediction based on the roster at the time and tell you who I think the 53-man. And then I do one in the middle of training camp. And then I do one after training camp, which I'll do probably the Monday after the Arizona game prior to cutdown. So I do all that so you can get an idea of what guys are really sticking out, what maybe we're hearing from people inside the building, those type of things. So let's get right started. There's some definite changes, and we'll get into all of that with you today. We start with Geno Smith, the quarterback, and Geno is a tremendous quarterback. He is better than I thought he was. I thought he was a very good quarterback. I thought he was athletic. I thought he could deliver the ball, all of those things. But where he has really excelled is off the field with his leadership with his teammates. He's an encourager. He is a guy that's not afraid to get in there and put extra work in. I can tell you in practice, QB1 gets a lot more passes than anybody else. He's willing to stay late and throw extra balls to anybody that wants them. And he's a worker. He goes over and encourages people, all of it. I don't want to hear about the incident at the youth football game or the hand gesture. I know some people really jumped on me yesterday about that for me saying I think it was a nothing burger. I do. Ideally, do you want your QB1 doing that? No, of course not. Of course not. But you know what? We live in a world that's idealistic but not realistic. People scream and yell stuff, and people are going to react in different ways. Do I want it? No. But it is what it is. But he's clearly quarterback number 1. He is in total command of this Chip Kelly offense. I am shocked. Every single person I talked to about Chip and his offense told me it's going to take a while for guys to pick it up. And for example, last year, Will Howard picked up his offense, but it was more towards the end of the year. He limped a little bit in the beginning, and Geno has picked it up. There's not been one time he didn't know what was going on. I'm stunned by that. I would have been stunned if it was Tom Brady, and it would have been the same way. So I'm going to be fair and say I'm stunned with Geno. His football IQ is through the roof. And on top of it, again, do you want the hand gesture or the screaming at people? No, you don't want that. But I'm not going to judge somebody by it. I'm impressed with him as a person. I'm impressed with him as a leader. I'm impressed with him with his mastery of the offense and his ability to throw guys open. It's just phenomenal. And I really like, and I've told you this for years, and I want to make this clear. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not in Patrick Mahomes' league. But one of the things I love about Patrick Mahomes is a guy that has the athletic ability to go run and get you a first down, but doesn't go to it too quick. It's almost a last resort because he wants to stay in the pocket where the offense is designed. He is a pocket guy, but man, does he have athleticism. And he has a brain like Patrick to understand I do that as a last resort, not as a first. I think he's tremendous. And let me tell you, the gap between him and Aiden is large. Second of all, I've got him keeping Aiden O'Connell. And I understand fans are frustrated. With Derek Carr, there were 2 camps, people that loved Derek and hated Derek. There was almost no middle ground. I don't hear hatred of Aiden O'Connell at all. In fact, I think the frustration with Aiden is Raider Nation wants to believe in him. And yet, when you see mistakes or you see struggles, and the first half in Seattle was that, people get frustrated. Okay, I agree with you. And I want to reiterate, in the regular season, if he comes in and they ask him to throw a bomb, and you have the same results as you did at Seattle, then there's no one to blame but Chip Kelly. But Chip's not going to do that. He's not stupid. He's extremely smart. And I understand fans are like, yeah, I'm tired of hearing about Aiden. I want to see it. Okay, that's fair. But I'm telling you, as somebody that's in camp every day that sees what's going on, he is clearly number two, and he is improved. Didn't show it in Seattle. That's why I said the San Francisco game is a big game for him, and not because his roster spot's in jeopardy, because it's not. The big reason for him is, remember, I told you this the other day. Remember the scene in the movie Gladiator? Just a phenomenal movie. I love the movie Gladiator. And in that movie, there is a scene where Russell Crowe, the gladiator, is told by the head of the gladiators, if you want to win your freedom, win the crowd. If you want to be QB1, Raider Nation has a love affair with its quarterbacks that produce. I mean, they hold them in the highest of reverence. I told you, I'm from Michigan. I covered the Lions for years. Scott Mitchell was a very good quarterback for the Lions. Very good quarterback. In fact, go read Tom Moore's book, A Player's Coach. Tom Moore is a elite coach. Go read his book if you want to know how good Scott Mitchell was. But anyways, Lions fans don't even talk about him. Raider fans remember quarterbacks from decades ago, maybe just shined for a year. I mean, that Raider Nation is different, and they want to believe in him. But he's got to sell them on why they should believe in him. And he needs a big performance, not for his job, because he's had a great camp. He needs to do it because Raider Nation needs to see it. And then thirdly, and this is rare in today's NFL, I have them keeping Cam Miller. Now, I predicted 3 before, and I've had people say to me, well, how can you say they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks when you get to bring up a third quarterback on game day and it doesn't count against the roster? That's a guy on your practice squad. They can't put Cam Miller on the practice squad. Somebody will sign him to their 53-man roster. He's not ready. He's not ready. Yes, he had a really good game against Seattle, against the lowest level of competition. A lot of those guys on the field for Seattle are not going to play in the NFL. And that's not diminishing what Cam did. He's a great kid, by the way. Great kid. It's not diminishing that. It's just the reality. He's not ready. You can see it. You can sense it. But he's not ready. So that I have those on the 53-man roster. Those are the first 3. I have them taken. Next, let's go to running back, where this is pretty simple. I have them keeping 4 running backs that I'm going to discuss right now, and I'm going to discuss another one later. But Ashton Jeanty, he is the man. Again, he did not have a great game against Seattle, but he didn't play that much. And a couple of those, I think he had 3 runs, and they weren't very good, but 2 of the really bad runs were young offensive mistakes, lineman mistakes. But Ashton Jeanty's the real deal. And he's your QB1. Next, Raheem Mostert. I've been really impressed with Raheem. First of all, you may remember he was former Pro Bowl guy, but got injured. And he is completely healthy. That man is so fast. You know, there's a difference between speed and being fast. I don't know about his speed. He's not like a Dante Thornton, a 4.3 guy. That's fast, but he's got speed, you know, slow to the hole. He's quick through it. I have been impressed by his leadership as a man, the way he's helping these young players. I've been impressed with his character, the way he handles himself, the way he's come in. There is nothing about Raheem Mostert not to love. I have no idea why Miami turned on him. It makes no sense because that's a heck of a football player, and he's your RB2. Then Zamir White is the third back right now. And again, this is changing daily. But right now, I would say he is your third back. And then Sincere McCormick would be 4. Again, Sincere and Zamir do different things, but man, they're both having good camps. I wouldn't say they're having great camps, but they're having very good camps. And Chip's using them on a lot of different ways. I'm very impressed with both of these young men and how they're handling camp. Then let's turn and let's go to wide receiver. Okay. And this is going to be a little interesting to you, I think. Trey Tucker, that's not interesting. Trey Tucker's going to make this squad. And he's had a really good camp. I've been very impressed with his camp. Then you come in, Jack Bech, good camp. Rookie. This is a guy that just doesn't drop the football. He's learning, but he's doing good. He's tough. Dante Thornton has played himself into the starting lineup. I think the starting lineup is Thornton, Tucker, and Jacoby. Obviously, Jacoby makes it. He's an elite wide receiver. I think he's a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. He just doesn't get the recognition. And then the 5th wide receiver, I got a battle going on. And it's an interesting battle. I got Alex Bachman making it. But he's in a battle with Philip Dorsett and Tommy Mellott. Tommy's a guy that I think there is a chance another team would pick him up for their 53-man roster. And with the Raiders not being a Super Bowl team, and some disagree with that, that's fine, but they're not. They may say, because we're not, let's bet on the future of Mellott and keep him. That could be their thinking process. There are some who think that's what they're going to do. But if you're going purely on where guys are today, who's won it, it's a battle between Bachman and Dorsett. And I think Bachman has shown a little bit more in special teams that gives him an edge there. Then you come in and you turn your attention to the offensive line. Man, I love talking about some big uglies. I love talking about the offensive line. Let's get right into it. I think Thayer Mumford makes this a swing tackle. Can also move inside. There's a lot of versatility with Thayer. He's had a good camp. I think he makes it. I think the Raiders keep 9 here. Delmar DJ Glaze, the mule, your starting right tackle. Came in, anchored at right tackle, and it's like that old hymn of the faith. I shall not be moved. That's Delmar DJ Glaze, the mule. And then so you go there, and then you go Charles Grant, the rookie. He's not ready. He's not ready. But he's a rookie. Didn't expect him to be ready. So, but he's going to make this roster. He's too good. You could see it. He's just not ready, but they're going to keep spot for him. And then, of course, El Capitan, or the guy I call Cap, Colton Miller. He's there. 4 tackles. Then you go to the interior offensive line. Jordan Meredith. He's your starting center right now, and he's playing like a man-child. Just I don't know that there's an offensive lineman having a better camp than Jordan. Showing mastery, brains, all of it. Then you got JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson. I think he makes it. He's in a battle here, a battle for a starting role. I don't think he's in a battle for his job. I mean, for a roster spot, but he's in a battle. Then, obviously, Dylan Parham. He's having a great camp. Wow, is he having a great camp? Yeah, I forgot about him. I mean, I didn't forget about him. He's just, y'all know I have a really good relationship with Dylan. I love the guy. And he's just quiet, man. Offensive linemen are just salt of the earth, just good dudes. And that's him. That's just him. Then you got Caleb Rogers, the rook, not ready. Not ready. And he's just not, but he's going to be. You know, he will start games for the Raiders, just not now. He's not ready. And so that gives you JPJ, Jordan Meredith, Dylan Parham, Caleb Rogers. And the 5th one, which will be the 9th offensive lineman, is Alex Kappa. And that right there is your 9 offensive linemen. Now, if Kappa weren't ready, I could see them putting him on the 4-game IR and then keeping a Tommy Mellott. But either way, if assuming everybody's healthy, I expect Kappa to make it, and that's where that would go. Then you turn to tight end. And obviously, Brock and Michael Mayer, you all know that. That's no secret. That's not like that's, anything special. Sorry, I'm trying to look at my notes, and I got the sun on them. But that Brock and Michael Mayer has had a stunning camp. Brock Bowers is just so good that you just literally feel like a moron every day. Brock Bowers looks good. Okay. It's like me telling you my wife's beautiful. I mean, every day it's just who she is. Uh, Brock Bowers is just great, elite. Michael Mayer is having a phenomenal camp. Going to be a major part of this offense. That's why I told you last year when the reports were out there about them trading him, tap the brakes. Everybody's available if somebody's willing to pay whatever the Raiders want, but they weren't looking to get rid of him at all. Pete Carroll loves him. Loved him when he was in Seattle and loves him now. Then you come to the third tight end. Now, you may remember I told you before training camp that I thought they were going to keep 3 tight ends. That is very rare in today's NFL where there are some teams that have no tight ends. None. 3 is a lot. Then coming into camp, because they weren't sure about the depth at wide receiver, there was some discussion about what do they do with tight end. Do they keep 4 if they keep less wide receivers? Okay, but those wide receivers have come along, shown some things. So I think they're only going to keep 3, and that's Ian Thomas. Ian Thomas looks like a starting NFL tight end. He has played his mind out. He is a baller. I'm going to say this right now. There is nobody in the NFL with a better tight end room than the Raiders. They have 5 NFL quality tight ends, including one who happens to be the best in the league. So then you got 2 guys, Kadir Ismail and Carter Runyon. You probably might be able to sneak Runyon on your practice squad. I think he's good enough to be on a 53-man roster and playing. So don't, but you might be able to because a lot of teams don't use tight ends. Kadir Ismail, man, he needs a big week against San Francisco. He needs to just make this so difficult for the Raiders, or they're like, man, do we go ahead and keep a 4th? Because he can do a lot of different things. He's really a Swiss Army knife. And he's a guy that could create himself a 4 spot, although I just don't think the numbers for that add up there. Again, could, but I think that's an uphill battle for him. But he needs to keep putting tape out there so that other teams see it. So the Raiders have to sit there and say, we know we can't keep him on our practice. But it's interesting to me, but he's a quality tight end. Kadir Ismail being off my 53-man has nothing to do with Kadir Ismail not being a quality player. It has everything to do with this is a numbers game. Then you go to your specialist. A.J. Cole, the best punter in the game of football, and it's not close. Daniel Carlson, top 5 to 7 kicker in this league. Rock solid. Raiders are fortunate to have him. And then Jacob Bobenmoyer, one of the top 2 long snappers. In fact, the other one's going to be here this week, Tabor Pepper from the San Francisco 49ers. Those are your top 2 long snappers in the league. Bobenmoyer is an absolute stud. So you've got your specialist, so you know you're locked in there and what you have. Then you turn your attention defensive line. Max Crosby in. Malcolm Kuntz in. Tyree Wilson in. Charles Snowden in. Those are your 4 excuse me. Those are your 4 defensive ends. But where it gets interesting on the defensive line is I think your starting tackles, if the season started today, are Thomas Booker and Adam Butler. Then I got Tonka Hemingway making it, J.J. Pegues making it, and then either Jonah Lalu or Zach Carter. Jonah Lalu is a player you all know I really like him. I really, really like him. I think he's ahead of Carter. I have him on my 53. Did not have a good game in Seattle. He needs to correct that quick. But I got Jonah Lalu making it over Zach Carter, but I think it's very close. Very, very close. Then you go to corner. I think Sam Webb is a corner whose job's in jeopardy. I've got him on my 53-man today, but he has to step up. Great kid, by the way. And I think he can do it. I'm not rooting against the kid. Just giving you the reality, I think he's a guy that still makes it if the roster was today. But he's a guy that they want to see competition, and they are open to him being beat. Next to Cameron Richardson. D-Cam. Great camp. Great camp. Greedy Vance, the rookie. This is a guy I did not have making the 53 coming into camp. And let me tell you, he's played his tail off. He's made some really, and this guy's tough as nails. I love that name too. Isn't that a great name for a defensive back? Greedy. Love that name. And but he's a guy, he surprised some people. A lot of corners are physicality averse. Patrick Graham loves corners that love contact. That's Greedy Vance. But again, he could be beat out too. So I really guess you could say there are two corners, but I think Greedy is in a better spot than Sam today. Eric Stokes, love Eric Stokes. You guys remember I talked to you a lot about him at the start once they signed him in free agency. Guy was played like an all-pro as a rookie, got injured. Green Bay gave up on him early. I can tell you because I've done a lot of interviews up there. In Green Bay, fans are very upset. They've not been real impressed with Nate Hobbs because he's been injured, which he was here. And then Stokes comes here, man, and he's playing like a rock star. He's played himself. Darian Porter, rookie, star. Love what he's done. And then, of course, Darnay Holmes. So there you go. Interesting stuff there. Again, let's talk about Sam Webb was CB1. Not CB1, but the first one I talked about was Sam Webb, DeCameron Richardson, Greedy Vance, Eric Stokes, Darian Porter, Darnay Holmes. Interesting there. Then you go to linebacker. Elandon Roberts has looked the part, been phenomenal. Devin White looked the part, been phenomenal. But I'm going to tell you something. Jermaine Pratt is looking good. Really, really good. Really good. And another guy, Jamal Adams. I am so impressed with Jamal. Man, I like Jamal Adams. And then you come down, Tommy Eichenberg, I think his roster shot's pretty secure. But here's the big battle when you're looking at linebacker is Amari Gaynor and Cody Lindenberg. Now, Amari's a young player. I've told you guys a lot how he reminds me of Carl Banks. But he's got to pick it up because Cody Lindenberg's playing now. And remember, Cody Lindenberg is a draft pick of the staff. So they already liked him. They picked him. And I think if it was today, Amari makes it. But I think they are in a battle, and I don't think this is a sure thing at all. Then you go to safety. Isaiah Palomar, IPM, has had a great camp. He's looked the part, safe. Chris Smith, great camp. Boy, has he played well. It is so great to see Chris Smith playing like Chris Smith. Then Jeremy Chinn. Love Chinn. Love Chinn. And then, again, the last one I've got is Thomas Harper. I think he's there for right now. I think this is still a wide open battle. But I think Harper's there right now. I think he has the edge. And if they were doing the roster today, I think he would make it. And then the last one, number 53, that I really want to dig in with you today on. And it's one that I find fascinating is Dylan Labe. Coming in, they didn't even know who he was. That's a fact. Pete Carroll talked about that yesterday, or the other day I wrote about it. They didn't know who he was. And so they pick Tommy Mellett. They think he has some Julian Edelman skills. And all Dylan has done since the moment this new staff arrived is compete. And I'm going to tell you, Pete Carroll really likes him. Likes his fire, likes his attitude. He has run the ball. I've not seen one fumble. You may remember he got in last year, had a fumble that hurt him. Not seen that at all. He's had a really good camp. Now, there are some that think that they probably keep Tommy Mellett. Maybe they keep both. But I'm telling you, I got Dylan Labe as the 53rd guy right now, the last guy in. But when you're coming from New Hampshire, who cares, right? Who cares? You just want to be on it. Who cares if you're 53 or 1? Well, you want to be 1 because they probably make more money. But 1 to 53, it doesn't matter as long as you're one of them. Years ago, how many, you may remember Eric Snow, he was the point guard in Cleveland when LeBron was young. By the way, wonderful man, love Eric. And Judd Heathcote, the legendary basketball coach who won a national title with Michigan State with Irvin Magic Johnson and Greg Kelser, Jay Vincent, all those guys. Judd Heathcote went to Eric Snow and said, Eric, I want to move you to point guard. And he said, Coach, I want to play in the NBA, and I've never played point guard. And Judd Heathcote said to him, it only takes one team to like you at point guard. And I think I can get you to that place. So Eric trusted Judd and went on and had a great successful career in the NBA as a point guard. It doesn't matter if you're 1 or 53 as long as you get on that roster. And I'm going to tell you this, all of you New Hampshire fans and all of you people back in New York who are his family, y'all produced a tremendous person with a work ethic that every one of you should be proud of. I think he makes the 53 if the roster was today. But whether he makes it or not, he's undersized from a small school. That kid has done nothing but make you proud. And that guy he's a great kid, great person. And his teammates are rooting for him. His teammates love him. You can't find a person in the Raider organization that has one bad word to say about Dylan Labe. They love him. I'll tell you this. He's not the same guy as Amik Robertson by any stretch of the imagination. He's very ethereal. But remember how I told you everyone just kind of loved Amik? It's that way with Dylan. They love him and they like him. And whether it's helping move gear after camp to help, I saw him help an equipment guy, or just the way he treats everybody. He just comes to work, shuts his mouth, and guys love him, guys appreciate him, and they know every single time he's given them a great look. The greatest compliment I can give you is he was running the other day, and this was earlier in camp, so I don't think it was this week. It may have been, it all runs together. But earlier in camp, and he did this rep, and it was just, and guys were tired, and he just went at it like it was a Super Bowl, like Max Crosby does. And Max Crosby was just walked over and I mean, I wasn't standing there, but I didn't hear the words, tapping him on the head and letting him know how much he appreciated how hard he went at it. Dylan Labe has impressed this new staff. They like him. Now listen, when you're number 53, you're on that bubble. But if it was today, I think he'd make it. But that young man is a pretty special person. So there you go. Going to have an article later today with a lot more detail, a lot more breakdown. But thanks for joining me. Just, again, breaking down my mid-camp training camp projection. Thanks, everybody.